Welcome to the Killer Innovation Show, the longest continuously produced podcast in history. Each week, Phil McKinney brings you the insights and strategies to amplify your creativity and innovation skills. Here's your host, Phil McKinney.
Welcome to this week's show. As you know, normally I do not talk about technology. Maybe it's a mental block. Having spent so much of my career in technology, and I can geek out and nerd out as good as anybody. And I didn't want to bore you listening to me go droning on and on about technology. However, today's show is going to be a little bit different. One of the things that I do is just part of my job and my career over the years has been around what I call technology scouting or innovation scouting. Looking at what's kind of coming over the horizon and how is it going to impact industries? How is it going to impact products and services? How should leaders think about embracing these new changes, these disruptions that are coming at us? And so there's one area, and I was asked to write an article on it recently, and so today's show is really based off of the research that I did for that article, and it was really around an innovation technology scouting exercise I did around nanobots. And as I dug into it, looked at it, and seen how much progression has happened over that last handful of decades even, with nanotechnology, nanoscale, nanobots, applied in a wide range of industries and applications. This technology is accelerating. It is something that should be on all of our radar screens. And think about it as a fundamental innovation that other innovations are built on top of. Just like fundamental innovation of semiconductor, you buy a microprocessor, but the real innovation is the code, the applications, the device that's manufactured. Nano is in that category. Think of this as a fundamental base, foundational innovation that other innovations are getting built on top of that are going to be transformative. And the market impact, we'll talk about that in today's show, is massive. This is something that should be on your radar screen, and it should be on your leader's radar screen. So, before we hop into today's show on talking about innovating with nanobots, got that favor to ask: follow, like, and share. Follow us on social media. Give us a like, a thumbs up, rate us over wherever you get your podcast, and then share this podcast with others. Let others know about it and help them get up to speed and stay ahead in these highly competitive markets. And with that, let's hop in to this week's episode. During the Cold War, Nobel Prize winner physicist Richard Feynman was investigating the possibility of science at a very small scale. He published a paper entitled, quote, "There's plenty of room at the bottom," end quote. It was inviting scientists to enter an entirely new field of physics. Feynman wanted to create machines that could assemble molecules atom by atom. He dreamed of the day when you could swallow a device that would save your life from disease. His idea may sound like science fiction, but they are possible. Nature's already proven that. There are millions of molecules inside every cell in our body, and they are all very small. They are like tiny machines from nature. We just need to figure out how to make them ourselves. Face it, the human body is a complex system with trillions of cells working together. Each cell is like a small city with billions of molecules moving around and performing tasks. Just as in a city, there are different molecules that work together to keep things running smoothly. There are proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, and minerals. And just as in a city, each molecule does have a specific job. Proteins are the builders. They make up the cell's structure like the buildings in a city. Carbohydrates are the energy source. Lipids are the cell's insulation. Minerals are used for many different things like communication and transportation. All of these molecules are important, but the most important molecule in the cell is DNA. DNA is like the blueprint for the cell. It contains the instructions for how the cell should look and function. The scale of these molecules is tiny. A protein molecule is about as wide as a human hair. DNA is even smaller. It's about as wide as a virus, which is 1/1,000,000th of a meter, a nanometer. So when Feynman was talking about making machines that could assemble molecules atom by atom, he was talking about something very small indeed. The nanobot technology trend is not just about making things at nanoscale. It's also about making very strong, very fast, and very precise things. In his famous 1964 talk, Feynman outlined a vision for the future of nanotechnology in which we could build tiny machines to precise specifications. Most people believe that the future was impossible and that Feynman was crazy. But Feynman was confident that it could be done, and you know what? He was right. Nanotechnology has come a long way in the past few decades. In fact, it has progressed so rapidly that many of Feynman's predictions have already come true. Some of the most impressive microscopic machines are those that scientists at IBM Research have built. In 2016, IBM researchers announced that they had created the world's smallest motor. This tiny motor is just 1 nanometer by 1 nanometer by 4 nanometers in size. It is made out of a single carbon nanotube, and it can spin up to 60,000 RPM. That's right, 60,000 RPM. Now, while this motor is not yet practical for real-world applications, it is a proof of concept that shows how far nanotechnology has come. In the future, nanomachines like this could be used in a wide range of applications, from medicine to manufacturing. Nanomachines are not only becoming more sophisticated as we learn more about nanoscale components, but they also becoming more widespread. In the past, most nanomachines were created in laboratory settings with government funding support. Today, there are a growing number of companies that are commercializing nanotechnology. So, what is the government's interest? Government investment in nanotechnology is on the rise as researchers around the world explore the potential benefits of using tiny robots to improve a variety of industries. There are many government organizations around the world that are investing in nanotechnology research. One of the largest funders is the National Science Foundation. The National Science Foundation's National Nanotechnology Initiative, the budget in 2021 is $1.2 billion US. There are many reasons governments are investing in nanotechnology research. One reason is that nanotech has the potential to solve many of the world's most pressing problems. For example, nanotech can be used to develop more efficient and environmentally friendly energy sources. It can create new materials with improved properties. In healthcare, nanoscale will cause better methods to deliver drugs to patients. And it can create smaller, faster, and more powerful electronic devices. Another reason governments are investing in nanotech is that it has the potential to create entirely new industries and new emerging jobs. Nanotechnology has the potential to create entirely new industries, markets, segments, solutions across the board. It will also improve existing industries by making them more efficient and competitive. For example, the automotive industry is using such devices at nanoscale to accelerate the development of lighter and stronger materials for vehicles. And the result of that is fuel savings and reduced emissions. So, if nanotechnology is the next big thing, what are some of these use cases? How should you think about nanotechnology and where you may have an opportunity to innovate using nanotechnologies to solve problems that today we don't have a path to solution. Now, these amazing innovations can be programmed to do a wide range of tasks that can benefit from building things, everything from nanoscale, stacking it up, to making things that have huge impact. But what is it that they can really do? Now, I'm going to walk through just a few examples. This is not exhaustive. Think of this as inspiration for you to think about how would you apply nanotechnology to your industry, to your organization, or what new industries would you create? What new companies would you create that could build a solution using nanotechnology that has never been solved before? So let's walk through these use cases. Number one, cancer treatment. Nanobots can help in the early diagnosis of cancer cells. By attaching a fluorescent marker to the nanobots, doctors can track them as they move through the body at the molecular level. This can help doctors determine the best way to treat the patient's specific type of cancer. In addition, nanobots can actually destroy the cancer cells. By heating the nanobots, they can kill cancer cells without harming the healthy cells in the cancer patient. Another is brain-computer interface. Nanobots can create new technologies, a brain-computer interface. This will allow people to control computers with their thoughts. Nanobots can read the electrical signals in the brain and translate them into commands for a computer. Now, this emerging field is targeted to helping people with disabilities that do not have the ability to use their eyes, hands, or voice in order to control and interface to the computer. This is one exciting field. Next one up is surgical procedures. There are many benefits to using nanotech in surgical procedures. Nanobots can help improve the accuracy of the surgery, reduce the amount of time to heal, reduce the risk of infection, and improve the overall outcome of surgery. It is possible to reduce the side effects of surgery with the help of the nanorobot-assisted surgery. Nanobots can also help make surgery more affordable by reducing the need for expensive equipment and supplies. Little side note here. In one of my innovation storytelling videos from 2017, in the near future, in that short film, we showed nanobots actually being used to correct a brain aneurysm. And it was, again, this film came out in 2017 using the concept of nanobots to solve this particular surgical problem. That film has gone on to generate a lot of discussion in the healthcare industry, the medical industry, and at universities. And there's a number of exciting innovations coming out of that. If you did not see that film, go check it out. You can go over to YouTube, just search for the near future film, Cable Labs. And this is the one from 2017, I believe. And check it out. And you'll see nanobots, or the concept of nanobots, 3, 5, 8 years in the future. Another use case is drug delivery. Nanobots can improve drug delivery in a number of ways. For example, they can target cells or tissues, allowing for more precise and dosage of the drugs needed. Tiny robots can overcome the barriers that often prevent drugs from reaching their target destination. Drugs get distracted. They go in all over your body. The dosage doesn't end up in the one specific cell or area that is needed. So again, nanobots can be a big help. They can also be especially beneficial when traditional drug delivery methods are not effective, when the drug needs to target a very specific molecule even, and getting that targeting can have a huge impact on not damaging and causing issues such as rejections or killing off good molecules, and go after to solve the problem that is specifically needed. Another use case is environmental cleanup. We can use nanobots in environmental cleanup spills and other environmental disasters. They can target and remove pollutants from water or soil. There's been a number of research areas specifically around using nanotechnology, nanobots, to address things like oil spills, going after the molecules in the oil, causing the oil to clump up to make it easier to extract it and get it out of the oceans. And again, this can help reduce the negative impact of disaster on the environment and, just as I said, improve the recovery process, make it easier to get the bad stuff out. Another use case, manufacturing. Nanobots can be used to manufacture to create really small, intricate parts or products. This is because they're able to move around and work together to create complex shapes and structures. Nanobots can improve the accuracy of manufacturing processes, thereby reducing waste and time. One example in manufacturing is 3D printing. Nanobots can create 3D printed objects with greater accuracy and detail than anything we have out there today. They can create stronger, more durable prints than those made with traditional 3D printing methods, or even traditional manufacturing methods. Another example is semiconductor fabrication. There's been a lot of experimentation using nanobots to create smaller, more intricate semiconductor devices than ever before. One area that I've been particularly interested in is computing. Nanobots can be used to create ultra-fast processors. This is because they're able to move much faster than traditional processors and can therefore complete tasks more quickly. Additionally, nanobots can store large amounts of data and create entirely new storage structures, storage methodologies, storage approaches that we just never have considered before. And why is this? Is because they're able to take up less space than other traditional storage methods, whether that be a spinning hard drive or solid-state disk drives. As a result, nanobots can help improve computing speeds and performance. The potential for nanobots in this area is significant given the importance of computer performance and advancing artificial intelligence. Therefore, nanobots can be used to create powerful AI systems that can think and learn at extremely high speeds. Now, you may think about everything I've talked about so far is just theoretical. It's Buck Rogerish. It actually is not. Everything I've talked about is not theoretical. There are companies that are actively working on microscopic robots. Nanobots market is currently dominated by a number of major players, such as Bruker in the US, Joel in Japan, Thermo Fisher Scientific here in the US, Ginkgo Bioworks in the US, Oxford Instruments in the UK, EV Group in Austria, Toronto Nano in Canada, Clock Nanotechnik in Germany. There's a variety of companies that are investing significant dollars on the commercialization of nanobots. And I expect the economic impact of nanoscale technology to be significant. This technology has the potential to improve the efficiency of many industries and create entirely new ones altogether. Now, the global market for nanobots is expected to grow from about $6 billion in 2020 to $14.3 billion by 2028. This rapid growth is because of the increased adoption of this technology in several different fields. Now, it's not just about the direct revenue of nanobots. We know in the game of innovation, it's the secondary innovation impact. The use of that innovation to have a positive impact downstream of other industries. In the case of nanobots, the secondary economic impact on industries that adopt them will be projected to be, get this, $3.1 trillion, that's with a T, $3.1 trillion by 2035. This impact will come from increased productivity and efficiency applied to very specific industries. And so therefore, the economic impact of nanotech will be far-reaching. It can generate some of the most significant changes we've seen in the applications and deployments of next-generation innovations. Now, as nanobots become more prevalent, leaders will need to evaluate how they can best leverage this technology in order to improve their business. There are a few key factors that leaders should consider when evaluating how to leverage nanobots in this case, your business. First, you should consider the specific applications that would be most beneficial, that would take advantage of the nanotechnologies. Second, you should assess the potential benefits in terms of increased efficiency and productivity and project that out 3, 5, 8 years out into the future. And then finally, you should consider the cost of implementing them into your business and whether those benefits justify the cost. Nano does not apply to everything in every business, but it will come and be transformative, so you want to be ready. As nanobots become more prevalent, leaders will need to monitor their direct, indirect, and analogous competitors. These competitors could leverage nanobots to compete with you in several ways. So who's your direct competitors? Direct competitors are those companies that offer the same products or services as you do. And as nanobots become more prevalent, these competitors could use them to create products that directly compete with your products and services, and they could be at a higher quality or at a lower price. Now, in order to stay ahead, you need to be aware of what they're doing and how they are thinking about nanobots and making sure that you are using them as well. So who are your indirect competitors? Indirect competitors are those companies that offer products or services that are similar to yours, but not exactly the same. Maybe they address an adjacent market, or they have a product that combines 3 or 4 products, or only address a segment of your market. As nanobots again become more prevalent, they could create entirely new products that are more direct replacements of what you offer your competitors. And you should do some scenario planning to really understand if they were to apply nanotechnology to their products and services and apply them to compete with you, what would that look like? How would you respond? What would be the risk to your organization versus the potential that they're creating for themselves? And then last, analogous competitors. Now, what do I mean by analogous competitors? These are those companies that offer products and services that are not similar to yours, but could be used in combination with your products and services. So this may be you sell module A, but all your customers typically also buy a module B from somebody else and attach them. So these are products that do not directly compete, but work with your products or services. That is an analogous competitor. Now, if that building of module B and they come up with an approach, or nanotechnology opens a door for them to all of a sudden create a product that is B plus A, now they compete with you. What does that look like? How would you use nanotechnology to do that? What would be your response if that happens? So again, you want to be thinking about these and get ahead of the curve, not wait until they are inflicted on you. Now, I'm going to make some predictions, and I typically, as you know, don't make a lot of predictions. But the reason I've dedicated an entire episode to this is that I predict the economic impact of nanoscale technology will be significant. This technology has the potential to really change and transform entire industries with higher efficiency, better productivity, better overall margins, and open up doors to entirely new solutions that today we just simply cannot innovate. And as leaders should consider the specific applications of these nanobots, this nanoscale technology, and how would it be most beneficial to them. And then experiment. Play around with it. Go visit some universities. go visit some of the companies I listed who are working with this to understand how it could potentially be used and what would the impact be to your industry. Now, those leaders that choose to ignore this technology do so at their own peril. As nanobots become more prevalent, they will present a real and present threat to those companies that don't leverage them. Remember, the secondary impact. Other companies are building the nanotechnologies, but how they get applied to your industries is a secondary impact. It is projected that nanobots will generate the $3.1 trillion in secondary economic impact. You want to be part of that, not the victim of that. And with the right strategy, nanobots can help provide a significant competitive advantage. This is where first mover advantage can create new opportunities. So in order to stay ahead of the curve in today's changing technology landscape, it's important to be aware of these latest trends and developments like nano. Nano is only one of many trends, one of many technologies that I track. This is one, though, that I'm really excited about, thus why I'm sharing it here. But for most organizations, it can be difficult to keep track of all the trends and all the technologies, all the new things coming out. And so that's why many companies turn to outsiders to do innovation scouting or technology scouting. And these are individuals who keep their fingers on the pulse of going on around. Now, this may be informal. It could be people you know, or you can actually go out and find professional scouts. These are individuals who take on only a handful of clients, and their job is to stay up on the latest happenings that are going on in a variety of very specific technology areas in order to help you as an organization stay up to speed, understand what's going on. One of the types of organizations that you can work with, again, is innovation agencies. Find yourself an innovation agency that has a technology focus that you are specifically interested in, like one that has expertise or experiences in nanotech or microelectronics or optics or whatever. Find one that is in the variety of technology areas that you are interested in and use them. Have them keep the eyes open and kind of being your headlights to understand what's coming. Because otherwise, if you don't, you are going to get caught by surprise. You are going to find out something after it's happened and after your competitors are winning against you. Now, if you're interested in learning more about how innovation agencies do technology or innovation scouting, you can search for it on Google. There's loads of them out there. If you want a specific example, hop on over to TechTrend, TechTrend.com. You can look at it under the services button, and it lists out all of the different services. And if you go over to articles, I think there's an article that I wrote for them a while back around scouting and how to do it. So you can learn a little bit if you want to staff up your own scouting. Now, in full disclosure, TechTrend is an innovation agency. It's the innovation agency I started back in 1996. I am the chairman of the board, but I take no revenue from TechTrend, and I'm not all that active in the day-to-day. So hop on over there, take a look. You see the portfolio. And if you drop a message to hello@techtrend.com, they'll get back to you and have a conversation with you and see if there might be anything they can help you with. And with that, again, the key here is that you want to make sure, in this case of the nanotechnology, that with the right strategy, you can create a significant, and I mean significant, competitive advantage for your organization that will move you into being the market leader. So which use case of nanotechnology are you most excited about? Which one? There's probably more than one. The one I have always been fascinated with is healthcare. what could the role be when you think about the challenges of medicine and delivering things like drugs or nanorobotic surgeries? I've done a lot of work over the years with leading medical institutions such as Mayo Clinic in looking at 3, 5, 8, 10 years into the future. And some of the work that's happening at top research centers around the world in the use of nanotechnology to healthcare is very exciting. Now, the one objective, obviously, is about extending life. The average lifespan today is, 76, 77 years old. You could extend that. Or maybe it's not so much about extending life, but better quality of life. Being able to be more directed in delivering of pharmaceuticals. There's a lot of nano research going around on insulin delivery for those that are diabetic, both type 1 and type 2. Some very, very exciting areas. But nano's not just about healthcare. Automotive, lightweight materials, better energy efficiency. There's some really exciting nanotechnology work going on in solar panels. And how do you make solar panels orders of magnitude more efficient? So therefore, the ability to take the power of the sun at being much more efficient in the capture and transition of that energy into usable energy for homes, cities, infrastructure, etc. And so I think nano is a technology that if you're not tracking it, you should. And if you're not thinking about it, how it applies to your industry, you should. Love to hear your feedback. Let me know what your thought on nano is and whether or not you think it's as exciting as I am. You can post the comments over in the show notes over at killerinnovations.com on this specific episode. And I watch those. In fact, I approve all the comments that come in on the page. So if you post a comment and you want, and we may be able to initiate and start a conversation, would love to. Also, looking for feedback on the overall shows. What topics, areas that you would like to hear more of, what you would like to hear less of. It's your feedback that helps us put together the schedule of shows and the content we covered. So with that, thanks again for the time you spend listening to the show. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, you can do that over at killerinnovations.com. We also post the newsletter over at Medium, over at Substack, and over on LinkedIn. So you can actually get the newsletter in any of those locations. Just search for me, or you'll find it, or just find my area there, and you can sign up for it. And that way, then you get the weekly newsletter on the best thoughts and thinking from around the industries, around innovations, and what does that really mean for all of us. So get the newsletter, and comes out typically once a week, but sometimes we actually do publish it a couple times a week if we have a lot of content. And with that, thanks again for taking the time out of your busy schedule. Time is your most valuable asset. Use it wisely. Dedicate that time to working on that next great idea you got rattling around in your head, and go change the world. Bye-bye.
Podcasting nonstop since 2005, this has been the Killer Innovation Show on the Innovators Network.